Hi, and welcome to the OntargIT podcast, real stories from the world of Microsoft technologies and global partnerships, told without the gloss. I'm Volodymyr Lysenko from the OntargIT team. Today we'll talk about how partnership actually works between two technology teams. My guest is Jason Newbot, Technical Director at EntityShift, a company helping organizations transform through technology. We'll cover how our collaboration began, what makes multi-vendor teamwork succeed in complex enterprise environments, and where tools like Power Platform and Dynamics 365 are heading next. Jason, great to have you with us. Let's get started.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So first of all, of course, I'm gonna ask you, I would say the essential thing, as for me, is like, could you please start talking briefly about your company EntityShift and introducing yourself and your role at your company, please?
Absolutely, thank you. So I'm Jason Newbat. I'm the technical director for EntityShift. So part of my role is essentially looking after all of the technical, the ALM, the development, and the more technically complex elements of solution delivery with inside Dynamics 365. I work with a number of other colleagues, kind of a focused team who have specialisms around the operational side of things, the functional side of things, resourcing, project management, and so forth. But my domain and area is anything that touches development, ALM, and essentially the more technical elements and coding. So a little bit about EntityShift. We're a small boutique UK-based finance and operations dedicated partner. We are an enablement partner. And the reason we say we are an enablement partner as opposed to a systems implementer is that we have a focus and a vision to ensure that customers can own their own implementation, because we find that the most successful implementations are where the customer has really lent into the overall project and has really taken it on as their own, to the point where that baton of responsibility between the traditional partner and the customer is moving ever quicker to the customer's side of the fence. So we are very much focusing on tools, relationships, partnerships, and capabilities that enhance and speed up that journey to allow the customer to own their destiny quicker. So that's a little bit about ourselves.
Okay, nice to meet you, Jason, again today with us, to have you with us today. Thanks for that story, let's say. So the next question for you is, what are the key technology areas your team specializes in when driving business transformation?
So
I believe that you like touched a part of this
yeah,
in your previous answer, but if you have something to add, please.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I suppose from a transformation perspective, specifically, it's always important that we focus on the actual value of whatever we're doing to the customer in terms of the outputs and the benefits they're going to see and the destination they want to get to with what they're looking for their transformation. Applying that to the technology, in our case, we are purely focused on finance and operations. Means that we're engaged principally where people have chosen that technology, and they are 100% invested in getting that right. But of course, ERP, finance and operations, especially being at the enterprise scale, requires a whole host of capabilities that scour end to end, not just core finance, not projects, not manufacturing, creeps all the way into customer services, customer engagement, creeps all the way into quality management. It can span a journey. The process often can start outside of the ERP solution. It will always end in the ERP solution, but it can certainly start in there as well. So we are absolutely, I suppose, committed to ensuring that we've got good partnerships in place that mean that we can address a proper end-to-end transformation for a customer to say, right, your ERP system might represent 70 to 80% of your estate. but you absolutely going to need to focus and transform on that 30%, because a problem created outside of the system is just going to be multiplied when it reaches the ERP. And the right solution to solve that problem might well be process change. It might not necessarily be the technology that's going to address that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Thank you. The next one is very interesting, because I believe it's going to be very curious to know from your perspective to share with us, how did the collaboration between EntityShift and OntargIT begin within our shared client project, like for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, one of the things what shouldn't be underestimated is the value of deep technical expertise. One of the major challenges that any, I would say, prime contractor or whoever has that ultimate contractual responsibility for the deliverable, one of the things they absolutely need is to be able to rely on and have that expertise provided to a point where the partner is solving the problems and taking away the friction, not creating a new point of friction by adding challenges and issues and so forth. And I think one of the first things we noticed when working with yourself, Vladimir, especially, was just the deep expertise that you brought to our project, to the point where any technical challenge that we kind of mutually embarked on, it was solved within 24, 48 hours. And on top of that, we had lots and lots of different challenges that we had along the way, in terms of timelines shifting, deadlines being brought right up to the cliff edge, and needing to get things done super quick, which meant late hours, late evenings, solving problems, and knowing that OntargIT essentially provided us with that capability, and yourself to be able to have that dedicated focus to just get the job done was essential, which has meant that it's been an absolutely fantastic partnership from the offset, really, and we've been very pleased to work with you on our mutual project.
I have totally the same feeling, Jason. That was very interesting, very positive for me, and I have learned a lot of things from you, especially during the process. So yeah, that was very nice, actually, and thank you for such kind words. From your point of view, what makes multi-vendor collaboration successful in complex enterprise environments?
Yeah, so I think this is something that enterprise organizations understand very well, that the nature of dealing with an enterprise scale problem is not necessarily that it's a problem that's incredibly complex, but it's usually a problem that spans lots of different areas. There is no single individual that can do everything end to end. It's impossible. And I've met many people who might have suggested that they can do something, but they are very quickly enlightened as to the fact that they have limitations, because there's just not that much capacity in the human brain to know everything that Dynamics can do in every module, in every area. It's just impossible. So you absolutely have to have deep specialism in an area. So unless, as an organization, you are willing to have 25 people sat there permanently with their individual and unique area of expertise to call on, which of course some organizations might well have in abundance. Most organizations are smaller organizations, more agile organizations, are going to need to form good partnerships where they can stay true to their vision and expertise, but also bring in other people that bring that depth. So it's essential to have those partnerships in place. And it brings a scale issue as well, because work is often like buses, you could say. Sometimes you'll have nothing for 6 months on one area, and then all of a sudden you'll have 3 things in the same area together. So trying to predict those spiky workloads from an expertise perspective, knowing that you need somebody in a certain area, is very difficult for a medium-sized partner to and a small partner to achieve. So keeping partnerships in place spreads the risk for everybody and allows people to keep their focus.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah, that was, I believe, very interesting experience for both of us. That is why I'm going to ask you the next question, because we've went through a lot of different things during our project, and the question for you is, how do you ensure alignment between different teams and maintain a shared vision for the client's goals?
Transparency and talking. Essentially, one thing, it's a picture paints 1,000 words, and just getting on a call together with people and understanding from a single source what needs to happen, being on collaborative calls so that people can see the journey from end to end is so important. It's a question of how you do that in an efficient way that doesn't mean that you have a sales specialist consultant sat on a manufacturing part of the component, because somebody has to make a decision as to whether or not there is enough of an overlap for those individuals to be involved in the process. Definitely everybody should have the bird's eye view, but not everybody should sit in on every workshop on every time, because that's just going to make things really, really slow. So we had like weekly cadences where we had catch-ups. We had daily cadences as well as quick check-ins for things, so that we can keep on top of what each other are working on, what challenges we were having for those areas, and just being able to openly discuss where we are, what the challenges are from different areas, meant that we could solve different problems from different angles. I think on our recent project as well, we had some interesting manual things that we needed to do when processing certain transactions.
Definitely.
I was thinking mainly around like confirming purchase orders, for example. That was a manual task because it's something we couldn't do with the other items, and there were absolutely some technical options that you presented out that could have solved that problem and made that much quicker.
Right.
To be able to solve that, and we wouldn't have come to those kind of conclusions if we hadn't have discussed those areas, and we weren't all involved as in some of the high issues that we were experiencing, which is great.
Definitely, yes, thank you. And like, as a part of the previous question, probably you can tell us briefly, in your experience, what value does such cross-company collaboration bring to the end client?
So I think overall, that's an interesting one, right? Because the end client mainly cares that their overall project is successful and their overall project is delivered. They may or may not be involved in the intricacies of certain parts of that. What they do experience, though, is turbulence from the overall project perspective, and they do experience delays and a nervousness on achieving overall outcomes if they're not provided the relevant level of assurance around those. So I would say that they experience the output of a bad series of relationships as the symptoms. And really having that concrete coverage that a partnership brings to individual areas minimizes and reduces or eliminates those symptoms that the customer is going to experience, to a point where they are blissfully unaware of the makeup of the internal partnerships that are in place delivering the solution. If they are not aware of that, that is almost a mark of success, because they haven't had to feel like they need to inspect the inner workings of the delivery machine to work out what might not be working here. They're just treating the whole thing as a successful delivered outcome, which is exactly what we want, really. So I suppose it's a seamless approach, or a seamless outcome would be the thing that they kind of experience from the partnership.
Yeah, understandable. Yes, thank you, Jason. The next one is, I believe that's going to be interesting probably to mention about it, but at least briefly, Which technologies or methodologies have been particularly impactful in delivering business outcomes for this project?
So I think this is an interesting one, mainly because of on a particular project that we've been engaging on has gone through a number of kind of stops and starts depending on a number of factors. There's been some changes of direction, some increases of scope, some discussions around which divisions are going to be going live first or second, etc. And I think the most impactful thing as part of that was the ability to change and adapt to those circumstances, which has meant that a delivery model that is almost able to, I don't want to say agile because it's not agile, but having that agility, let's say, in the process where you can decide that you're going to throw away the next 3 weeks worth of effort to redesign it, to remap it to what needs to be important, and have that activity be successful rather than completely break the next 2 or 3 months worth. Having that flexibility in the approach has been essential. That's been the most useful thing, I think, about the process. We've not had a giant methodology that we've said it's our way or the highway. This is how we're doing things. We've kind of had a little bit of a adaptive approach as to how we've moved things. And with OntargIT, we've been able to easily flex that approach however we needed to, with no impact whatsoever, which has been great.
Yes, that's totally right. Yeah. I'm just when I'm trying to remember all the stuff that we went through, that was really interesting experience, especially with all that late hours, etc., and doing all the stuff that we've encountered, all the new things that we've learned. I believe that was very interesting, and we cannot call it like one specific technology or methodology. So
Indeed. It's been a journey, right? A winding journey of different approaches, and it's how we weathered those that's been the fun bit.
Yes. I remember at the beginning you said that your company mostly focused on the Dynamics 365 finance and operations. But anyway, I'm going to ask you, probably you have some insights on how do you see Microsoft Power Platform and Dynamics 365 as well evolving as tools for enterprise scale transformation in the coming years?
It's a good one. So even though we are principally focused on finance and operations, as you have to be, the team are well versed in the overall capabilities of Power Platform. We wouldn't necessarily want to jump in 2 feet first and doing a customer services implementation, for example. It's not our forte, but we understand the mechanics and the structure, I would say, that the customer service area brings and how that overlaps with the ERP project side. And I suppose one of the biggest areas that we're seeing change in is the kind of merge and the movement of everything together into the Power Platform environment and Dataverse, which has been an evolution over many years in terms of that combined platform offering becoming closer and closer. I suppose thinking about where things are going at the moment with the use of agentic artificial intelligence and the nature of the MCP servers and the headless, I would say, capabilities that a platform like Dynamics can bring, I definitely see the lines between ERP and CRM becoming a little bit more blurred when the head is removed from the platform, I would say. And we're probably going to see more cross-platform workflows and capabilities being introduced over time, making it even more difficult still for those who might have had their historic background in one particular product or another. IT is a learning journey, right? Everyone's got to keep that learning hat on.
Everyday learning, right? And finally, Jason, what advice would you give to enterprise leaders looking to strengthen collaboration across multiple technology partners?
I would say they need to evaluate. Firstly, they need to get their ducks in a row, and they need to evaluate what it is they're asking for. And if they don't know what they're asking for, they should definitely kind of engage on a bit of a consultative exercise to ensure that they're going to market for the right thing or the right question. For organizations that are doing it themselves and wanting to kind of build their own solutions or build their own internal in-house team or bring those capabilities on board, they're going to need to know which partners they want to trust with each area of their delivery, as it were, and therefore they should have some clear asks and some clear things that they're looking for that depth of specialism to bring. So I would say know your shopping list if you are going to go down the multi-partner route and pick people that you know are going to bring those depth and capabilities in each area. If you're the sort of customer that doesn't want to do that and you just want to sort of not outsource your implementation, that's the wrong word, but you want to kind of have somebody kind of do it for you mainly on that side of the fence. And there's plenty of people that go down that route and want a larger GSI style organization to say, look, we're going to get you to do everything. It's your responsibility to deliver it. You manage multi-party relationships and all that kind of stuff. Then that question then becomes a question for the next SI in terms of making sure they are aware of the capabilities needed to deliver those aspects, and your customer becomes the partner in this case rather than the end client as a deliverable. But I think knowing your shopping list or understanding your shopping list is probably the most important thing, because if you don't know what you're in the market for, you don't know how to critique the results you get back from the market.
Yeah, that's really good point, Jason. You're right. Thank you. I believe that's it for today then. Thank you so much for this insightful conversation, Jason. We are proud to work with EntityShift, and we are looking forward to everything ahead.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
appreciate it. Lovely speaking with you.
That's mutual, likewise, as usual. Thanks again for joining us and wishing you continued success.